And just to do a little formal hello and intro here. Hi, and welcome everyone to the Cosmic Coven meeting on October 20th. This one is for the Scorpio new moon and the solar eclipse in Scorpio. There's a lot of stuff happening. We're going to talk about just the energies overall and how we as wellness coaches, spiritual workers, and different leaders of light practices, how we can support others during these times, as well as support ourselves and do our own healing. So welcome if it's your first time or you're watching this as a replay. My name is Corinne Summers. I'm a Reiki master, chakra and energy healer, a meditation and mindfulness coach. I do a lot of work in the corporate space. And then my primary, my heart is in the space of the work that I do with my conscious entrepreneur clients. And so I really love being able to train in Reiki meditation and energy coaching, as well as supporting in the mindset of an entrepreneur and how to use these tools to balance your energies as a conscious entrepreneur, how to find your own, not necessarily balance, right? Balance is a little bit of like back and forth. I like to think of it more as finding your flow, your state of flow or your harmony as an entrepreneur. And of course, providing as many tools and resources to you guys to make your lives easier as I can. Today, before we get into our practice, usually I start with our practice. Before we do, though, I want to lay the groundwork for it, since it's going to be an interactive journaling practice. So I already mentioned, make sure you have something to write with. But let's also take a moment to ground ourselves where we are. You're all joining from different places around the world, different places in your home, and whether you're lying down or sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair, I want you to take a moment to just ground into where you are today. Feel your connection to whatever it is you're resting on. Take a few breaths in and out really deeply. Breathing in through your nose and exhaling gently out your mouth, or in whatever way feels most natural. Settling into the here and now, this time and space, bringing presence to this conversation and your intention for being here today. Take a moment to just connect with that. What is your goal or your intention for showing up here today? Reconnecting to the energy of your breath and the energy of your heart. You might bring your hands to your heart to finish that kind of intention setting and grounding and connection. We are beings of the heart, of our intuition, especially as women. Feel that we can connect to that energy of our hearts, our inner wisdom and intuition in any moment by simply bringing our awareness to the heart. Your breath flowing through your body, your heart beating. You are alive today. You have a mission and a purpose. You can come back to the room at whatever pace feels good. And I know everybody has their cameras off. That's good. Keep them off for this portion. Do whatever you need along the way. You guys are all coaches and healers and intuitive beings. Do whatever you need along the way in terms of breathing exercises, journaling, or staying silent in meditation. You know, you all trust yourselves to get what you need. All right, so we are entering the energies primarily of Scorpio and Libra. We just came out of Libra season, but Libra is still present, and we're moving into Scorpio season. The Scorpio new moon, as well as the solar eclipse, are both happening on October 25th. But we have something else interesting happening with Libra and this Venus star point with Libra on the 22nd. So that's why I wanted to start or do this meeting on the 20th. I usually do them in a few days in advance of whatever the moon is or the eclipse is, so that we can chat about it, talk about the energies, and think really about how we're going to apply it to our lives, as well as how we're going to let that message permeate the messages that we're sharing with our own clients that all of you are putting out there to your communities. So we have that, the Scorpio new moon and the solar eclipse on the 25th. But before that, this Venus star point with Libra. And Libra is the sign ruled by the planet Venus. So there's a lot of synergy and harmony for the Libra energy right now. And this October 22nd to 25th is a big energy period in general around those energies of Libra and Scorpio, as well as the influence of Venus. So the key energy themes are really about relationship energies. All right. So with both Libra and Scorpio, everything that's happening kind of together, I'm not going to get into tons of astrology detail. That's not really important, but just understanding the kind of overall themes between all the different things that are going on lead to our relationships, what we need, what we're seeking, and also what we're giving in those relationships, and finding harmony and flow in those relationships. So this is going to be unique to everybody. It might be your romantic relationships. It might be your friendships. It might be your business relationships and partnerships, things like, partners, collaborations, your relationships with clients. Libra and Scorpio deal with how we interact and share and exchange energies with others. So that's like a lot of giving and taking, like what are we giving? What are we receiving in our relationships? What are we doing now? And then also what have we done? Where did we come from in giving and receiving? Where are we now? And then also, where do we want to go? Those are all good things to look at right now. Venus is more about personal relational energies. So we think often a lot about romance, but it can be other relationships as well. But romance, fire, heat, sex in those personal or most interpersonal relationships also come into play. But Venus can also impact, like I said, friendships, it's collaborative partnerships. All of those are both with Libra and Scorpio. And this is really an opportunity, again, to think about what we need in order to receive that love. What do we need in order to receive and feel love? How do we give love, and how do we offer love? All of these kind of dynamics around the heart. Venus is also a female energy, a feminine energy. So feeling empowered and worthy of love, being empowered and worthy of being seen. So for you guys, it might be about being seen for who you really are, and maybe that's how you show up in your business. Maybe you want to be seen for a certain thing. It could be like a struggle around that, or reaching that place of inner power where you're showing up as who you want to be seen as. And the Venus energy that is coming into play right now, it really wants us to have that confidence. It wants us to be empowered and have courage in our relationships and in how we're showing up. It wants us to have stability and harmony and give and take, and for us to feel confident and worthy of receiving what we desire and what we know we are worthy of. So this is a good time to take advantage of those energies. This has the potential to really give us the courage to open our hearts and the heart chakra, opening ourselves to giving and receiving what we know we're worthy of. And then that further allows us to open the throat chakra, where we can share that message to the rest of the world, right? So just two other points before we get into the journal practice. This other thing about the Venus star point, this blew me away. So I do a lot of research in advance of this and then try to give you guys the highlights, listening to all my favorite astrologers, podcasts, research, whatever. This blew me away, this Venus star point on 1022. It means Venus is like at her fullest, and it's kind of like the end of a cycle and the beginning of another cycle. But this one represents Venus in her full power. So this is like fully loved, fully worthy, fully confident, fully showing up in your power and who you're meant to be in this earth, in this life. And it's an opportunity to like hear certain messages and act on them, right? Sometimes people talk about this as like light codes or whatever to these transitional energies, but it's truly, this is just an opportunity to listen to those inner guides and reap the last 4 years of what you might have been going through, reap those lessons and integrate them into the next cycle. Okay, so now I want you to think back. This is the end of a 4-year cycle, the beginning of another with this Venus star point around love, worth, and relationships. What happened 4 years ago in October 2018? Just think about that for a moment. When I did, I cried when it hit me what the meaning of this cycle was. So I don't know, maybe it'll have an impact on you, maybe it won't. But just consider what was going on 4 years ago when Venus was in the opposite position, in its least point, in its lowest point, the opposite of its fullness. Venus was in its lowest point. We've now come full cycle. So something was opened up for you then, likely that was the beginning of this. And now we're nearing the end of the cycle 4 years later. And there's some kind of realization, lesson, and learning, powerful understandings and mastery, or that mastery of whatever, this past cycle was. So when these things come around to fruition, you can either take it as an opportunity to overcome that cycle, or you might create the same cycle again for another 4 years, right? That's kind of how this astrology stuff works. And I mean, it's how life works, but astrology gives us the opportunity to look at it. It says, hey, these are the themes. Let's take an inner look and illuminate them so that we have power to overcome them and create something different for our future that is aligned with our desires of our heart. So what have you mastered? What are we mastering? What has been mastered in this last cycle that we maybe now we're ready to start something new that is representative of our fullness? Okay, let me check my notes. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything there. Okay, so yeah, relationships, collaboration, soul contracts. How are we sharing, exchanging energies with others? This is that illumination. Got all that. Oh, I wanted to say, so usually though, to have illumination, you have to let go of something or face something. You might not fully have to let go of it, but you have to at least face it, which might result in letting go of it. It might result in keeping it, but healing it, right? So that could come into play. Can always come into play. Scorpio has negative themes. So this is also important because Venus is the feminine themes of worth and confidence and stepping into our power. We're also separately in a bigger global shift of balancing, finding harmony between divine masculine energies and divine feminine energies. So this is also like there's so much happening, and it's really cool. It's really cool, and I see it playing out in every client's life I have and my own. So I hope you're seeing some of that right now too, because there's so much power that's possible. So these divine feminine energies are possible, right? But Scorpio, and when Scorpio is healed, Scorpio in its power knows is the divine feminine as well. It knows how to represent its vulnerability. It knows how to be honest and be vulnerable without attacking and manipulation and blame and control and abuse and all the negative themes of Scorpio. So we're going to see both of those in play, right? It's like, what's it going to be? Are we going to choose the low vibe, or are we going to elevate and choose the higher vibe Scorpio in finding harmony and healing our inner child wounds? All right. So lack of vulnerability, Scorpio is like, it's represented by the scorpion, right? Scorpions are actually, I learned recently, one of the weakest animals. They can't protect themselves. That's why they're so quick to sting. They don't like to be vulnerable. That's why they're negatively an unhealed Scorpio energy. And I'm not saying just Scorpio if alignments. And honestly, it doesn't matter. We all have these energies within our charts. It's just understanding the energies overall at play and how they're showing up for you, your clients, the people in your life. So this is this manipulation, control themes, attacking and revenge. Let me hurt you because you hurt me. Hurt people, hurt people. Those are those themes. Abuse and manipulation because the person or that energy doesn't know how to be vulnerable without attacking. Understanding the self, healing inner child trauma. The main child traumas people are healing are wounds of abandonment, rejection, betrayal, injustice. Abandonment, rejection, betrayal, injustice. Okay, healing those wounds is what Scorpio needs. Being able to be vulnerable, to step into the power, understanding why it stings, understanding why the fear is there, why is the trauma there. That is the key to healing. That is the key to empowerment. Healing and empowerment will only happen when you face the fear and when you understand the pain and why it's there. So facing your fears and your limitations is necessary if you want to have convictions around your own power and your own strength. And that's what's really showing up right now. All right, I know that was a lot, and it is. There's a lot that I really wanted to make sure came through. Take a few moments to digest yourself and we're going to go into the actual reflection of this. So I'm going to ask you to put your notebooks away. You can journal along the way if you want. And thanks, Mel, for the hearts. Thanks, guys, for the hearts. I'm glad that is resonating with you. So like I said, moving into this, we're now going to do, it's like a repeat of that a little bit, where I'm going to ask you some reflective journaling questions. I love these types of meditation practices where your eyes are closed and you're fully silent and you don't take notes. You don't interrupt your flow. You connect to your heart and then you just let your heart speak to you. And then you word dump afterwards and regurgitate afterwards. So you can do it that way, or you can do it on and off. Again, you guys are all, you know these practices and all that. So do what feels good. So if you like, you can get yourself into a meditative state right now, either lying down or seated, or at least just tuning inward again to the heart by laying your hands there, just simply dropping your energy and your awareness to the heart center, allowing yourself to generate the feelings and emotions of the heart, a little bit of love and compassion for yourself today. Allowing yourself to be open to whatever messages your heart has to share with you today. Giving yourself permission to drop out of your head and into your heart. And then taking a moment to consider your relationships. What patterns have you been repeating in relationships? Don't think beyond that. Just first, what themes and patterns are there? Be it personal, professional, romantic, familial. Which ones are you ready to let go? Sometimes we notice patterns. The patterns may be good or bad. And if we notice a negative, I'm sorry, there's no good or bad, but There may be patterns that aren't serving us. Sometimes we're ready to let them go and sometimes we're not. So this question is specifically, which ones are you ready to release? What hasn't been working for your highest good? And isn't aligned with what you are calling in and manifesting? Where in your relationships, and again, you can choose to focus on one specific type of relationship or let your mind kind of gently reflect on the different categories: romantic, familial, friends, and then a community and community, social, business kind of overlap. Where are you giving too much? Where are you not giving enough? Do you have what you need to feel safe physically, emotionally, and spiritually in your relationships? Do you have what you need, or what do you need to feel safe physically, emotionally, spiritually? Keep breathing deeply as we move through. Open mouth exhales are always delicious for releasing anything uncomfortable that may arise. Also shaking gently of the hands towards the earth, or tapping or stomping the feet. Physical release. Now moving into the second part of these questions, what have we mastered and are ready to call in now? What's next? After reflecting on where we've been, what we see, what have you learned and mastered in this last cycle? What worked well that you want to amplify and build on? What are you opening yourself up to receive in your relationships? So what are you ready to receive in love, in friendships, in business partnerships and collaborations? Then where do you really feel yourself stepping into more of your power? Where do you want to invest your own energy to plant seeds for your future? In what areas are you ready to claim and step into that fullness of what your heart needs and desires? And how are you ready? In what ways are you ready to take action, to be and build the change you want to see? How are you ready to contribute and show up from that fullness in your relationships and in your business? You can take as much time here as you need on your own, taking a few more moments at least to just reflect on anything else that may arise, may want to arise, coming back to your heart and asking your heart, is there any other messages you have to share with me about this season of life, this cycle in my relationships? If you were completely silent in meditation, try to come back and take some notes in your journal at whatever pace feels good, moving back into the physical realm, creating movement in your body, bringing your awareness to your eyes and rejoining the room at whatever pace feels good to you. Again, taking some time to really reflect on what came up out of this session. What did you learn? What has been illuminated? And kind of noting those two areas. What have we learned from this past cycle? What has been illuminated in the present? And what are we going to do about it? How are we going to take action to step into our fullness in this next period? Whew, good energy. I'm telling you, if you're willing to do the work, this energy right now is incredible. Absolutely. And these are important messages to be sharing with our clients, especially for people that feel on the edge. Excuse me. A lot of people are on the edge right now, feeling really, really low vibrations, and they don't know what to do with the negative side of these energies, and they don't have the tools and techniques that we all do. So if you've been holding back, if you have been not stepping up and sharing, if you've been holding back in some way, this is your message that it is time to rise up and own your power. You are ready to step into your fullness. You have all the tools and skills you need. You have all the education and learning you need. You have plenty to share, because there are so many people that have nothing. And they are the ones that are really not going to be, potentially not going to be okay out of all this chaos that's happening. Like we were talking before I started the recording, the chaos that's happening in everywhere from Florida to Ukraine and Russia to every household in the world right now. Everyone is dealing with their microcosms of challenge. So share the tools you have. People need them in every area and every capacity right now. For those of you that are here with me live, I'm going to stop the recording and say goodbye for anyone that was joining on the replay. I hope you'll join us in another Cosmic Coven meeting soon live, where we get a further chance to chat and connect, to share what's working for us, what's not working, as well as share opportunities. I have lots of good opportunities I'm sharing in every session that you have to be there for. Things like upcoming podcast interviews. You might be able to jump in on ways to network and market your business and other things like that that are going on. So make sure, if you're not on my email list already, that you go ahead and join. The link is down below. Make sure you're on that email list and sign up for the upcoming meetings. You won't want to miss them. I have some guest speakers coming in as well. And this is my big mission right now. I'm putting all of my energy and focus into supporting my conscious women entrepreneurs, because I recognize that there's never been a time more needed. And I'm getting the message that this is my biggest priority right now. So if you want support and you want a lot of good stuff coming your way, keep showing up, and I know you won't be disappointed. Thanks again for your love, your light, your energy, and everything that you're doing to change this world and to change people. Shifting them, not to change people, to shifting them though into their highest good. You guys are awesome. All right, going to stop that.